Hey, I am so excited and honored to be here this morning. It is morning in Hawaii. And I got three things I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about why young living. I'm going to talk about why you. And I'm going to talk about why now. Does that sound like fun? This is something you can share with your teams. You can share with prospects. Most importantly, you can share with your own heart and your own mind for your own conviction and belief and faith in you and your future, because that's the number one asset you have. The number one thing you and I have for building a business is that deep intercellular, interfaith, deep within our bones conviction that we can do this, and the people that we introduce it to can do it. Doesn't necessarily mean they will, but they can. The choice is theirs, the ball's in their court. So let me tell you why young living. Some of you may know the story that a couple of years ago, Kimmy and I, we actually sold our two network marketing companies, one of them that we'd owned for 35 years and one of them we'd owned for 10 years, and joined Young Living. And so I'm going to tell you why we did that in simple terms. And I'm going to give you a formula that you can write down. So these are the reasons that we actually sold our companies and joined Young Living as distributors. Why on earth would we do that? Our companies were doing fine. They were growing. We absolutely loved what we were doing. We had no anticipation of selling our companies and joining another company. In fact, the day we made the decision, we actually, almost in one phone in this hand and one phone in this hand, the day we made the decision, we also told another party that, no, we're not going to buy your company. We were about to buy a company. And instead of doing that, we sold our companies and we joined Young Living. And I'm going to give you a formula that you can remember as to why we did that. And the last number in the formula is the most important reason that we did it. And then I'm going to give you a word, which is kind of the clincher. So here's the formula for why Young Living. First number in the formula is 1. And what does 1 stand for? Well, to a member who's just, kind of just getting started or playing around with this, or maybe he's never done network marketing before, this may not seem like a really important number, but it's hugely important in the long-term viability of getting paid on what you built. So most of you know I wrote the 4-year career, and the 4-year career is all about how to create asset income, how to build something once that you get paid on forever. Well, critical to that formula is you can't get paid on something forever unless the company in which you build it is in business paying you forever, right? If you don't have forever income, you don't have asset income, you just have earned income, and you might as well go sell mortgages or cars or real estate or something, right? The unique economic advantage that network marketing offers all of us is asset income. We build it once, we get paid forever. How long the build it once takes is totally up to us. I've seen people do it in 18 months and then they just collect the check forevermore because the check's big enough, they're happy enough, and they want to go do something else. And of course, most of us fall in love so much with the work that we build it once, get paid forever, but we keep building it because why not? What else are we going to do, right? You still get to build it and probably do everything else you ever wanted to do. It doesn't take that much time to do it. So the first number in the equation of why Young Living speaks to the long-term viability, predictability of the company and the income, and that number is 1, and 1 stands for one owner. What's that you say? One owner? Yes, one owner. Well, what does that mean? The fact that Young Living is owned by one family, one person in essence. Before Gary's death, now one person, Mary Young, owns the entire company. Why is that so important? Well, because one of the things that really challenges companies, the viability, the long-term viability of companies, is ownership. And when it comes to ownership, one of the things that challenges ownership and long-term viability is decision-making. So if you have like decision by committee I mean, that's like death from 1,000 cuts, right? That's paralysis from analysis. That's egos getting involved. That's arguments. That's lobbying. That's politics. That's things don't get done. Or if people get sideways enough with each other, what do they start doing? They start suing each other. And it's very messy from two standpoints. One, things don't get done because people aren't always in 100% alignment. A monarchy, I guess, is the best way to, like, monarchies have the best chance in business of lasting forever because one person is in charge. And so, right or wrong, they at least are making decisions and the buck stops with them. And so then there's another thing about ownership that's critically important, and that is, what is the vision and agenda of the owner? See, the more owners you have, the more complicated it gets about what's the vision and agenda of the owner. And here's how we know that the vision and agenda of the owner, Gary and Mary Young, is that if we build it, we get paid forever. Their vision is network marketing forever. Their vision is not to cash out, nor is it to bail in hardship. There's two things that these owners have proven to us. One is when things get really good, like when we become billionaires, they could take the company public and put $1 billion in the bank themselves. And, I don't know what they would do with that, but, that is a lot of people's agenda, right? If we get this thing really successful, let's sell it and just cash out, because we don't have a long-term vision for what we're doing here. Gary and Mary's vision has always been about us, about the members, about the sales leaders, about us building it and getting paid forever, about oils in every home, right? Forever. That's a forever vision. And they've proven with under great opportunity to sell and cash out that that's their conviction and agenda, because they could have been billionaires a long time ago. On the flip side, they've also proven that under great hardship, under great adversity, they don't bail, they don't cave, they don't give up, right? I'm going to talk in a few minutes about the phases of Young Living and the phase where Gary and Mary proved their mettle, proved their vision, proved their conviction. So when it comes to me building something and having a conviction that I'm going to get paid forever, I'm looking for one owner. I'm not looking for a public company where their agenda is the price of the stock and profits and quarterly, statistics and shareholder value and all that kind of, that's a mess. And I'm not looking for three owners who might get in a fight, or one of them might has to get bought out, or one owner, right? I love the fact that Mary is the owner. And so here's the second number, which kind of goes with the first number, and that's 25. First number is 1, second number is 25. What does 25 relate to? 25 years of track record, 25 years of adversity, 25 years of success, 25 years of growth. So if you want to know if I build it, will I get paid? The only answer to that question is, what's the track record? So most network marketing companies are all about promises, right? We're going to be the next billion-dollar company. We're going to be the fastest. We're going to reinvent network marketing. We got the best oils. We got the best products. Our products sell themselves, blah, blah, blah. It's all promises, right? There's a couple of initials for promises that don't start with a P. They start with a B, called BS. Those are promises. It's marketing hype, right? It's great. Every company's got to have it, but it means nothing. Zero. What means something is proof, not promises. Proof. And Young Living has 25 years of proof, 25 years of, hey, no matter what happens, no matter what. And, like 15 years ago, all the management team of Young Living walks out, goes across the street, starts their own company that actually does a pretty powerful job of competing with Young Living, because they both go to $1 billion and $2 billion a year. I can't imagine a worse adversity than that. 25 years worth of adversity. And then last year, Gary passes. What happens? Keeps on checking, right? Promises don't matter. The second number, 30. So you got 1, you got 25, you got 30. 1, 25, 30. 30. 30 is, I don't know exactly all the years, but the last couple of years, the company has grown at about 30% annual rate. And I don't know of another network marketing company on the planet that is 25 years old that is growing at 30%. That just doesn't happen. What generally happens is a company, grows for the first 10 years, and then they're flat for 10 years, and then they start declining for 5 years. Maybe they come back but generally when companies get big, they don't grow at 30%. It's crazy that Young Living is still growing at this pace. So 1, 25, 30, 90. That's the next number is 90. What is 90? 90% of the sales are still in North America. So here's a company that's doing almost $2 billion a year, growing at 30% a year, 25 years old, and 90% of its sales are still in North America. Now, if you look at any mature network marketing company, Amway, Herbalife, Nu Skin, Mary Kay, all these other companies, 90% of their sales, or really 50 to 90% of their sales are outside of North America. They're in South America or Asia. Why? Because those are developing markets. Those are markets that have a strong appreciation for free enterprise. Those are markets, Asia, South America, so Eastern Europe bloc countries, Africa. Those are countries where people die every day. People die every day clawing their way across oceans, under tunnels, over fences, through deserts, through trafficking, to do what? To just have a chance to be in this country. Just have an opportunity that we take for granted every day. People die every day, all over the world. They start in some remote place, and their journey is to get to America. Why? Opportunity. We totally take it for granted. They don't take it for granted. So when you get the network marketing opportunity in the hands of these developing countries, they go crazy over it. And we're not even there yet. Yes, we're opening countries, but the bulk of the sales is still North America. What does that mean for the future of Young Living? Here's what I saw when I looked at Young Living. I saw the next $10 billion company. There's only been one network marketing company that's $10 billion, and that's Amway. They're down to about 8 billion now. They've been as high as maybe 12 billion. I see Young Living as the next $10 billion company. I see Young Living as the number one network marketing company on the planet. It has the best shot to get there. Why? Because of all these numbers. And then here was the clincher for me. The last number is 40. So 1, 25, 30, 90, 40. And what does 40 stand for? Well, 40 is the reason we actually said, what? Wait a minute. We're about to acquire a company. We're investing millions of dollars in the growth of our company. And I saw this 40 in Young Living. And I've never seen that before. I've never seen that in my company. I've never seen that in any company that I've ever coached or studied or brainstormed with the owners of. Never heard that number talked about at a direct selling association meeting in the last 25 years. Nobody has ever talked about a number like this. 40. What is the 40? 40% of the members are active on essential rewards. 40%. And the number that we actually found was in Adam Green's back office, partnering with him, looking with him. What is going on here? How have you rocketed to success? And you're like an atypical distributor in a company full of, middle-aged moms. They're toting around kids. They got 5 or 6, they're having more. And you're a 22-year-old personal trainer that's never done network marketing. You don't even have a girlfriend, let alone a baby. How are you going to make it in Young Living? And he just was crushing it. Why? 40. What is 40? 40% is the retention rate in Young Living. 40% of members are active PR. I know some of you, your number's 38. Some of you, Adam's actually number was 46. He has people on his team whose number is 60. You probably have people on your team whose numbers are 60. But that number is the secret sauce. That's the holy grail of growth in network marketing. Why is that? Because Otherwise, I mean, you can be recruiting crazy maniacs, right? Young Living is putting like 60 to 100,000 people a month in the business. But if you have holes in the bucket, you can recruit 1 million people a month, and it doesn't matter. They all quit. And if you look at every other network marketing company in the profession, even my own companies, my number, by the way, 8%. I put 100 people in my company and track them for 7 to 10 years. 8 of them are still active. And that's a number I paid very close attention to. And we were awesome at taking care of those people, awesome products, awesome follow-up, awesome culture, awesome training, 8%. The companies that are multi-billion-dollar companies today, 1, 2, 3, 4%. I thought I was killing it at 8%. Adam said, I said, Adam, what's that number there? How do you calculate that? He says, that's a percentage of people in the last 7 years that have joined my team that were on ER last month for $100 or more. And I used those initials again on him. I said, yes, that's not possible, Adam. He's like, this oily tool says right here, 46. So we dug down, and my gosh, I mean, we could not, as stewards of our sales organization, even owning our own company, we could not justify leading our sales force down a path of 8% retention, because even though that could build $1 billion company, it could take forever, right? And Kimmy and I may have the staying power for forever, but brand new people don't have the staying power forever. Brand new people need retention. And that's what actually is responsible for the extraordinary growth of Young Living, is retention. Yes, a lot of people can recruit, a lot of companies can recruit, but do you keep the people that you recruit, even as customers? I mean, you know, that's most everybody in Young Living are just customers, but that's customers is where volume comes from. That's how we get paid, right? We don't get paid on recruiting, we get paid on repeat orders. So that's the last number, 40. That's why Young Living. And then the word that cinched it for us is family. Family speaks to culture in Young Living. Young Living is the atypical anti-network marketing company. It is a network marketing company, and I encourage you to embrace the idea that Gary specifically chose network marketing as the distribution and growth model. He didn't choose direct sales. He didn't choose having Gary's kiosk where he sold, you know, many oils as he could to people coming around. He didn't choose some online portal or website. He didn't choose Amazon to put oils in every home around the world. He chose very specifically a distribution business growth model, which is all about recruiting. That's what it's all about. That's what defines network marketing, is recruiting. You call it sharing, call it enrolling, call it embracing, call it a group hug, call it whatever you want. But it is one person getting other people, not just to be customers. See, getting customers, that's direct sales. You and I can only get so many customers. Gary could only get so many customers. He knew that. He knew the way he was going to get oils in every home around the world, when there's like, what, by the time it's going to happen, 7-8 billion people in the world. Well, he's going to have a sales force in the tens of millions, maybe hundreds of millions. There's only one way to do that: network marketing, where everybody gets to build a sales force from day one. Everyone, the brand new person gets to. That creates exponential growth of the sales force. Embrace it. Go build a team. You want to fulfill and honor Gary's vision? Build a team. That was his vision. That's how he knew he was going to get oils in every home. It's the only way. So that's why Young Living. Second question is, why you? Well, here's how I would answer why you. Number one, because you can. Doesn't mean you will, but you can. Everything in network marketing is a learned skill. There's only about 1, 2, or 3% of us that are naturals at network marketing. Like, you put 100 people on your team, you might have 1, 2, or 3 people that are naturally prolific at connecting with everyone they know. There's on social media, classes, however they want to do it, flea markets, booths, whatever, and recommending the products and promoting the products, and everybody trusts them and everybody gets in, and they just build a team. Maybe they don't become a diamond or a crown diamond or royal crown diamond, but they build a team. They get to silver, they get to gold, they get to platinum, they do something. It's only like 1, 2, 3% that are natural networkers. All the rest of us, including me, have to learn it, but anybody can learn it. I was a total introvert. No contacts, no network, no credibility, no money, total introvert. It took me a couple of years to learn it because I was also stubborn and hard-headed and arrogant and not coachable. So if a introverted, arrogant, stubborn, no credibility, no contacts in the prehistoric era of network marketing, no technology, can learn how to network and build a team, you can. It's all learned. You know, think about whatever you do for a living. Did you know how to do it when you were 12 years old? No. Did you know how to do any of it when you were 12 years old? Probably not. You learn how to do all of it. Even the things that you and I believe, like if you look at your belief about network marketing, you may say, oh, well, I'm not sure about building, I'm not sure. Well, okay, you're not sure about it, but you learn to be not sure. You know, what was your belief and conviction about network marketing when you were 3 years old? How about 7? How about 12? How about 16? Right? You probably didn't even know what it was. And then once you learned what it was, then you learned to have an opinion about it. And you learned to have an opinion about you doing it. You learned to have an opinion about other people doing it. It's all learned, right? So, you know, if you do something like some of you listen to my hero calls. So hero calls are hour-long interviews where I interview people that have crushed the 4-year career in a legacy company, not just Young Living. I think a half a dozen of them are Young Living, but all different legacy companies. I think there's 107 of them. What if you listen to one of those every day of the year? Do you think in 6 months you'd learn to believe in network marketing? In fact, I'm embarking on a project next week. It'll take me years to do it. In fact, I'll never finish because they'll keep growing in front of me. But I'm going to do hero style interviews of every diamond and above in Young Living. Hour-long, deep dive, exactly how did you do it? Where do you come from? What's your story? And most importantly, what are your stats? How many people did you personally enroll in what time frame? How many silvers and above do you have? You know, what's your ER percentage? What percentage of your team are recruiting? And how big did your team grow out of those numbers? Case studies, hundreds of them are going to come from that project. So you can do this. Why you? Because you can do it. Now, do you want to do it? Totally up to you. I don't ever tell people they should do network marketing or they should do Young Living. If it lines up with your values, then do it. If it doesn't line up with your values, if something is more important than what you might get out of Young Living, then follow that path, follow that journey. That's your bliss. Young Living and network marketing may not be your bliss. If it is, then follow it. And then here's some reasons why it might be. Because this very well could be your shot. You know, you've probably all heard that story about, you know, the family that, you know, is their house gets flooded. So they climb up on the roof, you know, and they're praying to God to save them from the flood. And guy comes by in a rowboat, you know, and they said, no, God's going to save us. And, you know, and another guy comes by in, I don't know, a bigger boat. And they said, no, God's going to save us. And then, you know, a helicopter comes by, no, God's going to save us. And then, of course, they drown and they go to heaven and they say, hey, God, what's up? We thought you were going to save us. And he said, well, I sent you a little rowboat and that wasn't good enough. So I sent you a big power boat and that wasn't good enough. So I sent you a helicopter and obviously that wasn't good enough. So you are where you deserve to be, right? So it just may be your shot at freedom, at abundance. And why would you want that? Well, I don't know. I'll tell you why I want it. I'll tell you why Kimmy wants that. For choices, for adventure, for seeing more of life than you can see when you're on a small level of income or a fixed level of income. When you're on unlimited, the world is your playground. The world is your oyster. I mean, there's 5,000 Young Living leaders right now on a cruise to Alaska. Normal income, you're not going on a cruise to Alaska ever. And it's stunning, the things they're going to see, the wildlife, the glaciers, the people, the ports, the experiences of hanging out with 5,000 other people for a week on a cruise is priceless, right? They'll remember that the rest of their life. How do you get that? Money. Sorry, but money. And there's a million things that money provides, wealth provides, abundance provides for us. I'm not talking about material things. Yeah, you can buy those if you want those. But, when you're laying on your deathbed, you're 106 years old, you're not going to be thinking back, treasuring the experiences of the Ferrari you bought or the jacked up pickup truck or the big home that you bought. What you and I are going to treasure and think about is memories. And they're not going to be memories of just us. They're going to be memories of us with other people. That's what makes up life, is those memories. You want to live 10 times longer than other people? Live 10 times more than other people. Have 10 times more experiences that when you're laying there at 106 years old, you're going, oh my gosh, that was so incredible, right? Abundance creates that. And the last thing I want to say about why you is, think about your kids, think about your family. And I want you to think about them in this perspective. How would your life be different? What could you have created differently? I'm not suggesting you have a bad life or you made bad choices. I'm just asking you to consider what options and opportunities you might have been able to create in your life had you started with a residual income. So think about education. I don't, whatever education you have, I don't have any, but if somebody would have said, here's $1 million, go get educated, I'd have bought a boat with it or something, right? I didn't care about education. But for those of you that care about education, imagine what kind of education you could have got if money was no object on your education. Now, how would your life turned out different if you had a money no object education? I don't know, but think about it. And then what if when you graduated from high school or college, you had a $4,000 or $5,000 or $6,000 a month income, like an annuity, like an inheritance, right? What choices would you have made different? Would you have gone to work for that company? Would you live where you live? Or maybe would you travel the world and see what's out there? Or maybe you would go live on your grandparents' farm for 3 or 4 years and learn their life and learn their stories. Or maybe you join the Peace Corps. I don't know what you would do, but the question is, wow, what if you started life with wealth? How would your life be different? What could you have created? What I say is all of us could have created a tenfold life. Now, some of us, yes, maybe me included, would have just wrecked our lives with money, right? I get that. But let's just assume that what you have provided for your children is not only abundance, but culture and education and character, right? And values and vision. And so they not only have the financial abundance, but they have all the soft tissue that goes in the culture of young living. They're young living leaders with abundance. What kind of lives can they create? Tenfold. And the last question is, why now? And I'm going to give you why now in some phases of young living. And I wasn't around for the first 25 or 24 years. So I have some just assessments from knowing the industry. And knowing Gary, knowing what he went through, knowing what Young Living went through, knowing what any network marketing company goes through. And here's some phases of the 25-year-old business. Phase 1 would be about the first 10 years, about. And I'm going to tell you that would be the absolute worst time to join Young Living. In the first 10 years, they probably didn't have a 40% retention rate. Why are the first 10 years the worst time to join? Because nothing goes right. No best foot is forward. Management is turning over and turning over and turning over. There's not enough money. Remember, Gary did not start this with money. So he had to bootstrap it from day one, which means we can't do this. We can't do this. We can't hire the right people. We can't hire the best people. We can't buy the best software. We can't buy the best packaging. We don't have the best marketing, right? Everything is somewhere between the worst and just enough to get by in the first 10 years. So the first 10 years in any network marketing company is kind of like storming the beaches of Normandy, where the casualties are huge. Why? Because you don't have, like, division supposed to have 50,000 people. How many people do you think were at convention number 7? Probably 500, right? And nobody's making any money. There's nobody parading across stage making 50 or 100 grand a month. Everybody's clawing and scrubbing and whining and complaining and arguing, probably, right? As opposed to today, oh, the first 10 years, forget about it. Worst time ever to join. Second 10 years for Young Living is what I might call the trauma and drama 10 years, right? I mean, that was the 10 years where the management team left and the FDA steps in. And, yes, there was a lot of growth in those 10 years, but there was all kinds of chaos, all kinds of angst, all kinds of anger, all kinds of drama and trauma, right? And so not the best time to join. So the last 10 years, that'd be the last 5 years and the next 5 years. Actually, I see it as the next 10 years, actually. The next 10 years may not have the same rapid growth as the last 5 years, but it's going to have the kind of growth that allows all of us to build multi-million dollar businesses if we want to, like 10 to 20% annual growth, new markets opening up, more importantly, the key international markets maturing and getting traction and coming on board and actually becoming bigger than North America. That's going to happen in the next 10 years. I predict Young Living is going to go from $2 billion a year now, or just under $2 billion a year, to $10 to $12 billion a year company in the next 10 years, making it the number one company in the world in network marketing. It's already number 10. It's number 10 right now in the world. It'll be number one in the world, and the people that grow it are going to become wealthy. And how do you take advantage of these international markets? Not by going there. That's crazy. That costs a lot of money. Unless you know the people, don't go there. Like, think about the cultures, think about the ethnicity, think about the religions of the people that live in those international markets. Find those people here in North America, build here in North America, and let those people take it back to the families that they know in those countries. That's how you take advantage of international growth. Folks, you and I are, we are like blessed, and we are incredibly fortunate to be in the right place at the right time. If you've been in 5 years, if you've been in 5 months, doesn't matter. You're in the right place at the right time. The next 10 years in Young Living is going to be epic, an epic opportunity for all of us, especially you. So this is your shot, I say. And if it resonates with you, if it matches your values, go for it. And go for it in a team building spirit, because remember, that's what Gary wanted. Gary chose network marketing for a very specific reason, because he knew that's the only way he was going to get oils in every home around the world, is to have a sales force in the tens of millions, maybe hundreds of millions. And if you want to honor his vision, then embrace the idea of building your own sales force. Just do your part. Maybe that's being a silver, maybe it's being a gold, maybe it's being a platinum. Maybe that's enough for you. That's fine. He would have been happy with whatever you decided to do, as long as it was building a team. And some of you are just going to keep doing it the rest of your life, like Kimmy and I do. Why? What else are we going to do? Where are you going to have more fun than the world is your playground, and you get to introduce people to extraordinary opportunity? So I trust this gave you some insight to bolster your own personal conviction and belief about why Young Living, why you, and why now. Take this message back to your team. Thank you all for joining me today.